I want to change tack for a second. My producer told me you have been on Joe Rogan's show 6 or 7 times. I can't remember now.
7. Don't short sell me. Yeah.
So, what the fuck's going on there? Like, hey, tell me how do you know Joe? Like, is it because you're both comedians?
No. I never got to anything like his level of success. I mean, I did a bit of stand-up when I first got to New York just to sharpen my chops and, get a feel for a live audience.
Pretty scary, though.
Yeah, pretty scary, yeah. Especially in a town like New York where, audiences can be brutal. But it's good training. I mean, it's once you get into a television studio, then having had the experience of
shitting your pants standing in front of it because no one's going to fucking laugh at what you said.
You can put it that way if you want. Yeah, it certainly gives you a keener sense. Well,
can I just before we move on? What was your shtick like in terms of your comedy act? I mean, what?
Oh, it was mostly. I mean, it was pretty intellectual. I think. I mean, it was observations. I mean, at the time, I'm pretty good at impressions. So,
really?
Yeah. When I moved over there, it was George W. Bush was still president, so I do quite a lot of Bush stuff.
Did you learn how to duck from a shoe being thrown at you? Whilst you're standing up there delivering your comedy?
Yeah, no. I mean, and so, and a fair bit about like Cheney and the Iraq War and the religious right and, just poking holes in things. It was good fun. It was well received. And I think Americans kind of like having a foreigner, cheekily take the piss out of them, especially in Aussie. You're non-threatening. You come in with goodwill, but you're also willing to highlight to them the ways that they know they're ridiculous. And so it was actually my first big job was the Huffington Post was at the time the most read online-only news website in the world. This is 2012.
I remember that period, yeah.
And there was a lot of buzz behind it. And they basically decided that they wanted to do to television what they'd done to newspapers and just destroy them completely and find a new way of having conversations. And so they launched HuffPost Live, which was a 12-hour-a-day streaming television network online. And I was one of the founding hosts and producers of that.
That's cool.
So I would host 4 to 6 half-hour shows every single day with newsmakers and with Thomas Friedman and Michael Moore and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or whoever it might be. And there was one moment that Joe saw go viral. It was one of the first, I think, shows still. This was before Letterman retired. So you remember he was doing the Colbert Report. And he did a joke that an Asian American activist felt was racist against Asians, but it was satirical. And she was lined up, this activist that is, as a guest on my show the following day in a kind of wrap of the news and everything that's going on. And we started talking and she started interrupting me and saying like, well, I would certainly expect that a white man would enjoy talking down to me. And I was like, well, hang on a second. We're just having a conversation. Like, I'm just trying to understand what your attitude towards.
This is live?
This is live on air. Yeah, streaming live.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
Challenge.
And it's a challenge, exactly. I mean, there's no mistakes. Or when there are mistakes, that's just part of, live TV. I said, hang on, we're just having a conversation. Like, and she said, well, yeah, as a white man, you probably feel like it's your right to talk down to women of color. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, when I was being born with balls doesn't give me, doesn't mean that I don't have the right to have an opinion about satire. Like, she goes on like this, and like, it basically just ended in a flaming heap, and I was just like, well, okay. I mean, all right, see ya.
See you later.
Yeah, see you later. Yeah, if you don't want to talk to me, then we don't have much to talk about. It was this weird experience, Mark, that I've had many times since, but I'd never had it before then, and that was probably 2014. So this was just as like the kind of social justice reckoning was about to happen, right? Where you're talking to someone and you realize they're not actually talking back to me as a human. They're talking to me as a cardboard cutout avatar of white maleness. And they're expecting me to talk to them as a representative of some abstraction, some identity group, some oppressed minority. Like we're supposed to be talking about comedy, satire, offense, cancellation, because she wanted to get Colbert cancelled. There was a whole petition about it. And instead of having a conversation where we treat each other as equals, we're having a conversation where two cardboard cutouts of different identity groups are sparring. And that went momentarily viral. Joe saw it. Someone texted me that he'd played it on his show. And so I think I just DM'd him on Twitter, or he hit me up and somehow said, next time you're in LA, why don't you come on the show? So I said, I just happened to be in LA in a few weeks, quickly booked my ticket to LA, just so I could have that experience. And he and I hit it off, and then I sort of had a standing invitation whenever I was in town.
So what was the conversation about, the show with Joe?
Well, I mean, everything. You know what his shows are like. You sit down for 3 hours and you talk about anything and everything. You just go wherever. So cancel culture.
And he was cool?
Oh, he was great. I mean, I love Joe, and he was the reason I have a podcast. He's been, he really is the pod father. He has been really caring and generous and supportive. He just pulled me aside after one of the shows. I don't remember whether it was the first or second or third. And he was like, "What are you doing with these dummies getting paid a paycheck? Go and do your own thing." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I think I will." And I started the precursor to Uncomfortable Conversations.